And hopefully this will turn out. But, okay. You know, some of my best talks have been really kind of extemporaneous. Like the Cincinnati one was kind of Patrick just got me up and said, okay, what parts of this do you want else to talk about? And people kind of focus on a couple areas. So we'll see. But all right. So why is it? Why is it you want to do anything in this business and building a team? You know, because building a team has so much more benefits as far as the financial benefits, and probably more so the fulfillment benefits of making an impact on people's lives are even multiplied even greater. Okay, but people don't typically join us for that. You join us because you want to make money. Okay, it's just basic. You need to make money. We're all trying to make money, but when you try to build a business, you're beyond just the selling. The selling is the immediate income. The long-term income, the residual income, the override income is long-term income. It's things that you're going to put into motion that will keep paying you month after month, year after year. And here's some noise. Let me mute everybody. Okay, so that should be a little bit better. Okay, so so you're looking for long-term income. Now you got to pay a price to build that kind of income, and it's sometimes even a greater price than doing sales income. Selling is just getting rejection on the phone. Okay, selling is going and getting no-showed. Okay, because the more no-shows you have, the more shows you have. The more rejection on the phone, the more people book appointments with you. So if you can get your mind right on handling that emotion of dealing with those kinds of things, you know, it's a small price to pay. Yeah, you pay a little bit for leads, but the benefits should be 5 to 10 times or 30 times what you invested in, you know, based on that awesome call that we had with Paul Menachino on referrals. Okay, it's a small price to pay. So to build a six-figure or $200,000 income on the selling side, in my opinion, it's not that. I mean, it's not that taxing. You know, if your self-image sucks, then you've got a problem. Okay, beyond just selling, because a lot of times it's confidence. You know, so you got to work on that self-image. You got to figure that self-image thing out. It's like it's a head game. So if I had to say anything, it's not the skills or the mechanics. It's you getting your mind right on overcoming those things when it comes to sales. Once you got that down, awesome. You can make whatever money you want to make. I mean, it's whatever. Okay, but the other part about building a business and creating that override residual income involves you dealing with people. Okay, it's one thing dealing with clients. Okay, making sales. You got to deal with crazy people yelling at you on the phone, people that get really analytical, people that get anal about what you're doing for them. All those kinds of things kick in, and you got to deal with that kind of stuff. Okay, but again, it's once you deal with them, sell the policy, check in on them every year. You don't have to deal with a whole lot of drama. Okay, every week it's new drama maybe, but it's one and done basically. Okay, and the relationship with your clients is a once a year thing at that point. You're not going to typically go out to barbecues with them, or you're not trying to find out how to help them make a lot of money, because it's just not that nature of that relationship. So that relationship's easier. When it comes to building a business like this, now you got to deal with people. Now you got to deal with people's motivations. Now you got to deal with people's stuff, the junk that goes on in their lives, and you got to help them through it. And that to me is more challenging. Okay, but it's oh so worth it. That whole fulfillment thing starts kicking in. you know. So 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 how do you keep your head right? The two topics in Cincinnati they wanted me to talk about was, how to keep your mind right. How do you stay in the middle ground? How not to get too crazy, and how not get too crazy depressed, and how not to get too crazy euphoric. Because everything's going great. You got to stay really cool hand Luke, like right in the middle. And how do you do that? And then the other side of that, the second thing they wanted me to talk about was how do what are keys to building relationships with people? Because when you build a business, it's a business of relationships. The good news is, excuse me, it's you get to deal with people. The bad news is you have to deal with people. All right, to the point sometimes where it's like at the end of the day you just have nothing else to give anybody, and then someone calls you late night, and somehow you muster the ability to just give some more. And it's amazing what this business does is that it taps into a deeper reserve inside you of what you can give. I think what God has given us is our own mental limitation and emotional limitation that we have in our own mind, and then the reservoir that He's already blessed you with and given you, all right, that you haven't tapped into yet because of lack of faith, lack of you understanding that you're made in the image and likeness of God. And by the way, okay, so you guys know where I come from. I'm really into the spiritual aspect of my existence here on earth. So I hope not to offend anybody. I don't want to offend anybody. You have your beliefs. I'm just telling you how I handle stuff. So this is my perspective. You don't have to believe or understand anything. I'm just giving you my, because the question was asked to me, how do you handle it, Alex? How did you, because I have the second largest business in the alliance and blah blah blah, right? I've done some things, but and that's how Patrick kind of couched it at the meeting. So he said, okay, well, why don't you just tell him what you think? So I'll just tell you what I think. When did I ever hold that back, right? So anyway, so that's sort of the caveat, with that, and take it like a cafeteria, right? This cafeteria approach, take what you want and leave the rest, okay? But don't get too hung up, which is all kind of about the idea of keeping an even keel. So so let me draw it out. It's like the highs and lows. Okay, this is the high, and this is the low that you get in life. Okay, this is suicidal. Okay, and this is total euphoria. Some people get here by drugs. Some people get there because you're just excited, happy about stuff that goes on, which is not a bad thing, but almost to the point where it's maybe even detrimental. Because when you hover between these two emotional extremes, it's hard to build this business. It's hard to have that stamina. I'm getting texts here, so okay, cool. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me all right because I got everyone on mute. Okay, so so here's the two extremes, and where you want to stay is right in the middle road. Okay, you want to kind of vary here, not vary here. Okay, this sine wave is not a good one to be on because you're just not stable, and this is how you sometimes on the building side, you want to work with everybody, but the biggest job you have is trying to keep people in the middle. And so how do I stay there? Okay. And by the way, gang, it's like, that I'm a pretty emotional, passionate guy. So I'm like the one who probably can do a clinic on how I control my emotions. And my emotions really, I like to say it's passionate. I'm a passionate guy, but it can be like real negative because I have a bad temper. I got like a serious bad temper. It comes from sports. When I play basketball and I play competitive tennis and tennis tournaments. Um, I played in 3.5 USTA tournaments, and I just had this crazy temper, and so I was had to really learn this and really control it, control the anger, and control like the total excitement I get about things. So here's what I have learned to do over time is when I get down in here, when I get in this phase down here where I'm like super depressed, and when I'm up here super fired up, the best way to turn on the pressure relief valve when I have this emotional pressure, both high and low, is the one way to do it is to deflect it and to release it. And how I do it is by talking to other people. Okay, that's one thing that helps me stay even keel is when I'm feeling frustrated, depressed, sad, something, I have to reach out to talk to someone else. And it's not to dump on them, okay, as much as it is to, like in my position, encourage and uplift someone else, to encourage someone, to help someone else, to deflect all the energy that I'm focused on me. Because when you get frustrated and emotionally upset and distraught and depressed, it's all about me, me, me. But when you can deflect that to other people and help other people in some way, somehow, when you talk to someone else, something happens. When you take the eyes off yourself and put it on someone else and worry about someone else and how to help someone else, all of a sudden my problems have perspective. Okay, because there's always someone going through something worse than you. And it's not like measuring, like I'm going through something worse. It's not this measurement. It's to them, that thing is the biggest thing in their life. So if I can help someone else do that, then I don't have as tough a problem. Like, was it Monday or Tuesday? It just was such a frustrating morning. Just some things just happened that I wanted to scream. By the way, screaming is an okay thing to do, but I just wanted to, and so I had a recruiting call. I mean, I had some recruiting calls set up, so I started talking to these other people, finding out about how they found us, what they're looking for, the recruiting part of the business. And what was cool about that is all of a sudden I kind of forgot about my frustrations, and then since I was doing the Cincinnati meeting, I got excited because that was another opportunity to give. And it got me out of my head, man. Totally got me out of my head. It was this really cool thing. So talking to other people and serving other people. When you're kind of in servant mode, it forces you to take your eyes off yourself, and it humbles you to help someone else, because then all of a sudden your problems aren't as bad. Now when I'm up here, I'm euphoric, I'm excited, I'm fired up. I talk to someone else, okay? Because when I'm excited about something, and when I can share it, not in a braggadocious way, but in a way that I can encourage and uplift someone else, that's an awesome thing you can do with that high. Okay. The other thing it'll do is it'll also give you perspective, because other people's situations are going to bring you back to earth as to, hey, this is only fleeting. This, I did 8,000 this week. Woo, fired up, and you're checking in with your running buddy, say, hey man, how did it go this week? How are you doing? How you doing? Oh man, this week's terrible, Again, you're talking to someone else and you're uplifting them when they hear, hey man, this week just was, how's it going with you? Hey man, this week has just been a total blessing. See what happens? You start realizing when you talk to other people, because you were there last week. Remember last week you had a sucky week. This week you're having a great week. Well, what that tells you is that the work is the work that you do. The emotional part about doing great or doing bad is just part of it. And so when you can maybe uplift someone else, encourage them to stay in a little bit longer, it helps you use that euphoria to their advantage to help them, and also help humble you so you don't get like too crazy thinking it's all you. That's the one thing about being high up here, is it makes you think that it's all because of you, instead of having that grateful feeling that today, this was just an incredible blessing this week. I'm grateful for it. But my job is to go out and just do what I do for my job, my work. My work is to go call families and go out there and help them. My job is to show the business to people looking for an opportunity. And if they're the right people and they like this, then I have a chance to serve someone else. Okay? So kind of notice that staying in the middle comes down to this thing we call service. Serving. Now you think that Mother Teresa had problems? Look, she started Sisters of Charity in her ministry to the poor in India on nothing. Everything that she supported ministry was from donations and charitable giving, but from God's providence. Okay, so certainly that's where it came from, but through other people. But it was her faith that kept her going. And she could have been out of business tomorrow, but she knew that God would provide. And she had the ups and downs and frustrations, but she knew what she was on this earth to do. And that's the other aspect of staying in the even keel, is to know that everything that's been given to you is what God has given to you for a reason. Okay, one of the biggest things for me that has kept me grounded is that my journey here is not based on chasing happiness. All right, I've learned a long time, when I chased happiness, when I chased pleasure and happiness, was always something that I could never obtain, because I was going for a feeling. Okay, I was going for a feeling. The problem with feelings and happiness is it's fleeting, because you get it and then it ends. Okay, you get it and it ends. It stops. It's nothing sustaining, right? I was chasing the wrong things. And when I realized that I was on earth to do God's will, and when I knew what God's will was for me, which was this business, being able to serve and give myself away to other people to help them improve and help them grow and help them achieve a better life, financially, spiritually, in their own families, being better fathers and better mothers to their children, then that's why I was here. I wasn't here to chase happiness. I was here to chase that. And out of that comes fulfillment, that I'm doing God's will for me. And out of fulfillment comes contentment. Okay, so it's not happiness. It's being content that I'm fulfilling God's will in my life. And that's what keeps me going. So it's where that comes from is vision. Okay, man without vision shall perish. A woman without vision shall perish too. Okay, remember back in the days when man used to mean everyone. It was all inclusive. Mankind, right? So vision, okay, God's will. The all-consuming part about that is, there's one way to think about what you are and what you do. Okay, who you are and what you do. All right. Sometimes I think the ultimate, I'm getting a little deep here, but there's this transition when you know that you know that you know why you're here and what you have to do to serve your purpose on this earth. All of a sudden, it doesn't become I'm doing God's will, is I am God's will. See how that changes? I'm not doing God's will. I am God's will. I am the thing that I am. I exist as God's will. I'm not just doing God's will. So what does that mean? I am not doing the alliance. I am the alliance. I'm not building, recruiting, and selling. I am the alliance. This is who I am. Right? This is who I am. When you get there, where this is who I am, the game changes totally, because the highs and lows of you chasing vision, God's will, seeking fulfillment, right? Okay, fulfillment. when you start knowing that you know that you know, and you're going for that, then everything, all this stuff is the path to get there. In fact, the highs and lows are there for you to realize God's plan for you, to realize what you're on this earth to do. See, here's the thing. I embrace down here. I embrace challenges. I embrace all the things that make me feel like this, because you know where you find God? You find him here. You can realize him here. You realize him here, but you find him here. You find him when things are low. This is where you exercise this thing called faith, okay? Because what keeps you going to try to get back, get your head right, is exercising your faith power, that he's teaching you something. He's putting you here for a reason. And when you start looking for those opportunities to find him down here, is when you understand why this part is all part of this. See, they go hand in hand. This is part of this. This is part of this, because he will edify you. When you need edification, he'll edify you up here, where you get excited about someone who changed their life. You get excited about a great production week because it's a blessing from God. But you know what? The stuff down here is also a blessing. Why? Because it ain't about you. Sometimes he has to humble you and get you down here to realize, hey, it's not me, man. It's him. All right. So the whole thing on keeping grounded in the middle is being so and so purposeful in why you're here. And you know what? It's not maybe an ultimate end. You know, it's not like all of a sudden I had this epiphany of waking up in the morning and all of a sudden I know why I'm here. It's like, aha. No, it was an evolution development through time, through understanding what how he speaks to me, and discerning that over time. It's an evolution, gang. It's not just one place you get to. It's not like I've reached the pinnacle of enlightenment and all of a sudden I'm there. I'm still chasing this. I'm still solidifying my vision. And sometimes the vision, God gives me kind of a little bit, little tweaks here and there for it. So if you are searching, that's a good thing. See, we're all in the process of searching. I think God put it in our heart to search for this. And your journey is this right here. So if you're seeking this, all this comes with it. All right? But it's not pleasure and happiness. It's not comfort. It is not comfort. It's not a comfortable life, man, because fulfillment doesn't come from comfort. It comes from challenges. It comes from exercising your faith life to know that God's always there for you. This is how I stay in the middle. Okay, this is how I stay grounded in keeping my mind right, keeping my attitude right, keeping me positive. Positive about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and what I'm on earth to do. And that it's, again, being revealed to me every day. But, man, this journey is an awesome one if we understand it for what it is, all right? And I hope that made sense. So this is how I stay in the middle, and how you constantly keep yourself knowing that God is speaking to you in all these things. It's being open to when he talks to you. See, another thing that keeps me grounded here is to know that in everything, God speaks to you in several ways, okay? Number one, he speaks to you through other people, okay? Other people, God will use other people's voices, okay? The other thing is that he'll speak to you in silence, okay? He'll speak to you in silence. One of the biggest things for me is this thing called prayer, okay? I stay in prayer. I stay in prayer as much as possible because I hear God in the silence of prayer, like just emptying your mind, where you have nothing except Him. And that's a hard thing. It's about the hardest form, I believe, in prayer, contemplative prayer. It's hard. It's really kind of like meditation in a way, but that meditative emptying of your mind, you hear God there. The other thing about prayer is it helps me pray for other people. It allows me to look over the team and feel like who needs my prayers. And when you pray for others, it's amazing how, I might offer up a few, Lord, it'd be kind of cool if you help me with this. Okay. But it's not so much, Lord, I need a Mercedes Benz. Okay. My prayer is always, Lord, let me make the right decision. Infuse me with your Holy Spirit so I make the right decision in what I do. That I say the right things to the right people. I say the right things to the people that counsel with me. That it's from you, not me. That I don't perturbate any of your help to other people through me by my own messed up mind. Because I'm a sinner, and I gotta keep my mind right, my heart right. Part of my thing when I counsel you guys is I got to stay as pure and chaste as possible in my spiritual life, so I know that I can give you my best. Okay, that I can speak to you, speak to you, that God wants me to say things to you, and I think that I have to have my life right to be able to do that better, to help you better. So that's part of my prayers, that I really don't try to pray for things. I pray for the ability to make the right decisions, make right judgments, and all the things that I do. And I don't pray that He takes the suffering away. I pray that He gives me the strength to handle all the sufferings along the way. Okay? The strength and the courage and the grace, right? So prayer is a big, important thing that keeps me kind of sane, and so He speaks to you through prayer. He also speaks to you through other people, and He speaks to you through situations. See, the thing that keeps me grounded here is that I try to look for God in everything, and circumstances that happen to me, whether it causes me to feel here or here, it teaches me something. How can I learn from this, Lord? What are you trying to say to me because I'm going through this? I'm always in a spirit of discernment, right, of trying to figure out how He's tweaking me, because He's coaching me every day. Whether I listen to it or not is my problem. Okay, it's my challenge. And so if you keep your radars open, okay, and everything that you're doing, He'll speak to you, and He'll give you the discernment to understand why situations are happening. And sometimes He won't. It's not His job to satisfy your curiosity. Okay, His job is to help you find Him and rely on Him and lean on Him, and the understanding of it. It's a blessing if it happens now, but I promise you it'll happen eventually. Okay, and then when that does, that's when this good stuff happens. It's called consolation, the consolation of God, where He reveals to you why He did something, and that is a blessing. That is a tremendous, I think, thing that I would wish for everyone. That you understand why you went through junk, and you see on the other end, it's like, oh man, this is totally why I went through it, right? To me, that's like the beauty, the beauty of it. And then at the end of our lives, I think all will be revealed. All will be revealed at the end of our lives. We'll be sitting on heaven to me is just sitting on a big, comfy couch, and God's going to play the movie of your life, where all those little ripples of the things you did and things you didn't think would amount to anything actually did amount to something, because He'll play the movie on how that person affected this person, and all of a sudden this guy got his life right, and this gal got her life right, and you had no idea. Maybe that $5 bill you gave to that homeless person turned into something good. I don't know. I mean, that to me is the icing on the cake. My job is to do this, figure this one out, and continue to strive for this, God's will in my life, and seeking fulfillment. So how to stay in the middle, those are my tips that I've used to stay in the middle ground and to stay grounded, and to not get too high, not to get too low, and learning how to recover from being too high or too low. Okay, giving myself away. So I hope that makes sense. I wish I could Hold on, let me unmute and see if anyone has any questions. Okay, so the line's unmuted. Anyone have any? Wow, look at all these people still on. Sometimes I think, man, that everyone kind of hopped off the call and I'm the only one on, Anyway, does anyone have any questions on that at all? And some of y'all going through some junk, and just know you're not the only ones. Okay, I do too. So, anyone have any questions? Hey. Absolutely. Here's the thing. I think what hell is you meeting the person the person that you are meeting the person you could have become. That would be hell, Anyway, anyone else? Any other questions? We'll move on to our next. Yes. Any what? Emmett Fox. Have I ever read Emmett Fox? Man, I've heard that name, but I've not read any of his stuff. Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds very cool. Awesome. I have to check it out. Yeah, spiritual reading, that also helps too. So reading in general. Yeah, well, I'd love to check it out. So maybe that'll be kind of the next on the spiritual reading list. All right. Okay, cool. Well, let's get to the relationship thing, and again, remember the context of all this was how was I able to build a large team, large group over the years, and again, it's a blessing. It's not. It's. I've been blessed with it, so that's one thing for sure. I'm humbled by it, most definitely. But just some of the things I've learned on building relationships, and I'm not by any means a big guru, but in this business of building a team, one of the, I think, again, this business is a people business. So one thing that you will have to do, man, is just you have to be good at building relationships, and I need to be better at this, way better at this. So I'm not literally speaking in any position of authority other than what I've built that's evident. Okay, and you can't build a huge team until you've built, you build a huge team by building relationships, relationships with people. So the first thing in any kind of relationship building is to seek to understand. Okay, so here's my litmus test on relationship building. If this person that's calling me and that I'm trying to help is driving me freaking crazy because of what they do, how they say things, they get my goat, then that tells me that I don't know how to. I'm still not good at relationship building. I think the ultimate test is, can you build a relationship with someone who you cannot stand, that's so different than you? I mean, other than, if they're immoral and unethical and they do bad things, they're wife beaters and abusers. Okay, beyond that, okay, now I don't mean to say that you need to be judgmental of people, but I'm talking about the people that have a desire to make money in this business, have a desire to seek to become better. Maybe, they want to make money, and if their personality drives you crazy, just personality clash, then you need to be better at working with people. Okay, the onus, now people, they may be deficient in that aspect of it on their side, but you need to figure out how to not make that person drive you crazy. All right, you have to learn how to handle negative personalities that bring you down. You need to be the stronger person that needs to learn how to handle it. And the first way to learn how to handle people like that is to seek to understand them. Okay, it's like in the Bible. Loving people that love you. What's extraordinary in that? There's nothing extraordinary in loving people that love you. What's extraordinary is loving people that hate you. That's extraordinary right there, right? Ultimately Christ on the cross says, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. See, if they only understood, then they wouldn't be doing it. They don't understand. Their ears were closed. Their hearts were closed. Their hearts were stone. So for you to seek to understand people is step number one to getting to know someone and building a relationship with them. Understand them. Understand why they're where they're at. There's a reason why they act the way they act. It's kind of sub-bullet here is don't judge. Okay. Now there's two aspects of judging. There's condemning, and there's understanding. Okay, so and you may not understand it. I mean, people think and do things that are incomprehensible. So I'm not asking you so much, but I'm saying that maybe there's a reason why they're acting crazy. Make up a story. Like when you call someone on the phone to book an appointment and they start yelling at you. Okay, in my mind, it's like, you know what? They probably just found out, their cat died. Okay, and they're just upset. I try to even make up a backstory for them, until I get to know them more. But I think if you look back in your life when people kind of rubbed you the wrong way, and as you start to get to know them, then you start to understand why they are the way they are. And so it's the idea of seeking to understand people first, not being judgmental of them, looking at them as people that have wants, needs, and desires they're trying to fill. They're not an override check. They're not overrides. People are not overrides. They're not agents that produce money for you. They're people that they're put in your care. Here's the second thing is forgiveness. Man, I think that one of the biggest things with relationship building is living in an attitude of forgiveness. Forgiving people 70 times 7. Even if they don't deserve forgiveness, forgiving them anyway. I'm not holding a grudge. No grudges. The problem with grudges is that it hurts you more than it hurts them. Living in an attitude of unforgiveness is a burden. What it does is you're putting an umbrella over you from blessings that God's trying to rain on you. He's got so much grace, unabounding grace and mercy that he wants to just heap on you in torrents. But you put this umbrella of unforgiveness and grudge in your heart, and you're shielding yourself from all those. If you live an attitude of forgiveness, even in advance, you're going to have people that rip you off, that don't pay their agent debt back, and they'll roll up to you. You have people that will screw you, people that will leave you, and you can be mad at them. You can try to find ways to get back at them. But the first thing you should do is pray for them. That's one thing that I think is, like all those agents that left last year, the first thing I did was I prayed for them. And I'm still praying for them hard because they got some bad things coming their way, man, bad legal stuff. And I'm just praying that they learn. I'm praying that they become better. They learn from their mistakes. Like I'm praying that I learn from my mistakes, and who am I to judge because I've done, bad things in my life, so I look at it from that perspective. So I pray for my enemies, man. Pray for people that hate you. And I think if you live a life of forgiveness, okay, where you have no grudges, it's really kind of a life of gratefulness. I think when you look at all the stuff I said before on staying even, all those things I said was really coming from a basis of gratefulness. See, because I think you have an attitude of forgiveness if you know that you've been forgiven. If you know you've been forgiven for being the knucklehead that you are and that I am, already been forgiven by his stripes we are healed, then man, how can we not forgive others? If you live knowing that you're grateful that you and your life have been given so much and that you've been, number one, been forgiven by God that loves you and knows every hair on your head, he sent his son for you, how could you not forgive other people? And so living an attitude of forgiveness. Here's another thing. This is a little bit a business thing, but root for other people. In fact, kind of the thing in this business, if I can find someone I can help that I don't get a financial benefit from, even better. Because I know I'm doing it from a heart, not because I'm going to financially benefit. Not that means that I'm not going to help any of you all that I financially benefit from. Okay, but I treat them the same as you. Okay, I treat them the same as you because all my investment in you that I have financial benefit from, it's not financial benefit, it's the spiritual treasures that I'm storing up in heaven. It's not the stuff here on earth. It's the treasures in heaven that I'm so from living in that perspective, everyone is my downline. Does that make sense? It's like everyone is in my downline, even if they're not in this business. Is that kind of a weird thing to think about? Is the world's my downline. So, so treat and root for people. See, this business of agent levels and people passing you, and see, I'm not big on the internal competition thing. I'm not trying to pit Cord Goodson against Karen Musil and trying to get Karen to be motivated because she's competing against Cord. It's not the way I roll. My group has not been about that. There are other groups like that. There are other groups that are like that. Man, I know how I am in competition. I know that when I've competed in tennis and basketball, I always look to crush the other person. That's how I grew up. Not only did you want to beat them, but you want to beat them in submission where they never wanted to play the game again. Okay? That's how I played. I mean, that's just, and so I knew that whenever Andy would tap into that competitive thing in me, I would go to the negative place for me. That was the chink in my armor. Is whenever I got competitive, I got to the point where I was wishing bad things on another person. Okay, yeah, I'm admitting one of the sins in my heart. Okay, it's jealousy and selfishness. Okay, that's my root sin. I think I talked about that in one of the calls previous. But rooting for someone to fail. I never wanted to be that. That's why I don't do that. I don't try to create competition among you and my team. You're not going to get that from me. So if you want that from, it's not from me. You're going to have to find another group that does that kind of crap. I don't believe in it. We should be able to root for everyone's success. It was like so cool when all y'all rooted for Cord Goodson and his team. I mean, getting key leader and my crossline guys like Adam Katz hugging Cord. See, that's the way it is, man. We're happy and we root for everyone. Like Andy will say, root for them like they're in your downline. Because spiritually, everyone's in your downline. So root for other people. Don't have an attitude of jealousy. See, the agent levels and watching people grow can cause you to become jealous of other people's success. Because it's just the way, we edify. You hear people's names being called. Like you hear someone's name being called, that they're doing something half as good as you and not as good as you. You know that you're doing something way better than them. And in your heart, they're not mentioning your name, so you feel that jealous feeling. It's like, man, fight that. In this business, sometimes the business is who's doing something great so we can edify their success so people can believe the business works because it's working for this person. Okay, it's not designed for you to become jealous. It's not designed for you, maybe it roots you on. Maybe it kind of has this internal competition in you that helps, wants you to be up there with that person. But not to the point where you're hoping ill on someone else. So root for everyone, because the spiritual blessing of sowing and reaping works. Okay, you can call it karma, you can call it whatever, but when you sow seeds of goodwill, the harvest of goodwill will always come back to you. When you sow seeds in other fields, the harvest always comes back in your field, right? So rooting for other people. Then the fourth thing is know what people want and help them get it. Help them get it. Okay. Know what people want and help them get it. You need to serve. And sometimes what they want, what they think they want, is not what they ultimately will satisfy them. It's like, like the story of David and Goliath. Yeah, you might think that David wanted to kill Goliath because he had this divine mandate to slay the giant. Man, he was motivated by material things. Okay, he's motivated by the king's daughter. He's motivated by a tax-free life. He's motivated by all these material things. And he said, "Hey, man, I can kill this giant." And he got his sling, and so he was actually motivated through material things. The Israelites came out of Egypt, and they were motivated by the land of milk and honey. See, God has used our material nature to motivate us. Once he motivates us going for that, he teaches us through that to understand that that is not ultimately what we want, and he reveals himself that, hey, I'm what you want. Okay, but he just kind of gets us moving. Okay, in this business, this part, to help people get what they want. And as they start going for it and going through the things to get what they want, they start realizing the stuff I talked about here. They start realizing things. And it's not all you too. So don't think that it's you, that you have to be the spiritual guru to anybody. All you do is you help them get into the system, help them move forward towards getting them what they want. And what happens is the whole system, the whole leadership gets a chance to speak life into them in different ways. See, one thing for me is that my ego isn't such that I got to be the magic for you to help you move forward. I'm only a piece of it. I'm not all of it. I don't want to be all of it. God uses me to help you in a certain way, but everyone else is there to help you. So I'm not I don't got to be the guy. I don't want to be the only one. I'm just helping you move forward in a certain way, and that's my thing. That's what I do. It's not, but I don't have to have that pressure of, over your soul. It's not me. So when you're doing this business, you're creating relationships with other people, and you're helping people get what they want. And hopefully you're an example, and hopefully you can point them in the right direction to attend conference calls like this one, to attend functions like leadership conference, so people will speak into them. I'm getting noise. So other people will speak into them. So you're important in as far as you're the one that opens the door. See, all I am is a door opener. I open the door for people to walk in. Once they get in the room, then everything's there for them to become better, to achieve their financial dreams and goals, and then ultimately to seek fulfillment in their life because they're growing and changing, understand God's will for them. They're creating vision that is something meaningful. They're finding meaning in their life. Okay? Don't feel like you have to be like me. I serve a purpose because God's taught me things that I'm giving to you, but don't feel like you got to be like me, that you have to be able to reproduce this. This is just what I do. Fitz does the Fitz thing. Lampies do the Lampies thing. Patrick Connors does his thing. Mike Levitovich does his thing. Cord Goodson does his thing. It's all of us, when you put it all together, that create God's voice. Wow. all of it together creates God's voice for each individual person. So don't take the responsibility. You're just a piece. You're a sentence in the paragraph of a chapter of a book called the Book of Salvation, right? So I just use, God has you, and He's endowed you with gifts, and He's endowed you with stuff that He has endowed me with. He needs you to be the best person you can be so that you can help other people and be part of this great system of ours to help other people. So please don't compare yourself to others. Be the best you can be, and then you become an important cog in the wheel that we call the alliance. Your gifts are your gifts. God didn't endow me with what He endowed you. That's why you have to maximize that so you can help other people. Okay, so I hope that you don't take that kind of pressure on. The pressure for you is to be the best you can be, to keep your mind right, to stay in an attitude of gratefulness. Okay, so that you can stay in the middle road, knowing that you're going for something that's a bigger purpose for you and for your family and what God's will is for you. And in doing that, what you leave in your wake are people that benefit and profit spiritually, financially, from what it is you're accomplishing, the example that you're setting. And man, we can change the world. We absolutely can change the world because we become the best people we can be. Then we become leaders, become part of this alliance thing that goes off and changes the world again, changes lives one by one, so we can change the world. All right. So I think we're at the end. I hope that made sense. I'm going to open it up for questions, so I'm going to unmute. All right, so any questions? Yeah. Hey man, the glory goes to my heavenly Father who's blessed me with so much, even though I'm a sinner, man. So I'm not any better than y'all. In fact, I'm worse in many ways, probably. And so that's why I'm grateful, because He's forgiven me, and it's just a blessing. Any other questions? Okay, well, I know this is a little bit deep. I kind of felt like this had to be. I wanted to share this with you because it seemed like it really helped people in Cincinnati, and it was really kind of off the cuff. But anyway, so I appreciate y'all. Thanks for plugging in. And let's do something, man. Knowledge without action is just a waste of time. You put this stuff to use. You go find people to serve. You got to go do your part in this game we call life. You have to do your part. You got to go out and get out of your comfort zone and get rid of the things and fears that are holding you back, because you are empowered. God has given you blessings. You're a kid of a king, man. You're a child of the king, man. So don't act like slaves to fear. Act like you're a child of the king, guaranteed an inheritance. You got to go out and share the wealth with others. And so go out there and make dials, pound the phone to go serve families, pound the phone to show this business to other people, because you don't know who out there is hurting that can hear a message like this that could change their life, and all the other people that can avail themselves of our leadership team that can change their lives. So thanks everybody, appreciate y'all. God bless you. I love you all, and man, let's make this week an awesome week. May is a 5-week month. And let's kill it, and let's show the plan, man. Let's bring other people to this awesome party. All right, folks? Okay. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye now. You're welcome.